Hi, you might know me from this. It's my most viewed video on YouTube. I posted the video into 9 TikToks and they blew up too. So, since there is a new batch of recruits about to enlist, I decided to create this video. I'll share some parts that were removed from the original video and comments from you guys and also some director's commentary on the video. Let's start with parts that didn't make it into the video simply because I would need more than 9 minutes to talk about them. At the beginning of the video, I wanted to add these words. You will give away your pink IC in exchange for your green IC, also known as your 11B. You will board the Ing Hub ferry to Tekong, where the temperature is 1 to 2 degrees Celsius higher than in mainland Singapore. But then I realized that most people knew that already. However, I still feel like people should know that Tekong is slightly hotter than Singapore. It just contributes to the fact that you will sweat a lot during BMT. It's not just the strenuous activities or your uniform. You will be provided with a duffel bag and a fuel pack, and check with a group of people if you have every item. You will then go to your bunk to try out each clothing item. You can swap any piece of clothing for free in the first few days. You also get to meet your section mates that stay in your room. I found this part redundant because I believe people already knew that the first day will be spent on issuing items. I wanted to add this tip. To befriend people, bring snacks. These people's perception of you will be crucial when they do peer appraisal at the end of BMT, which will impact your chances of entering command school. But I realized I had too many things that were of my opinion, so I didn't have enough time to talk about factual information. Either way, I still believe that you can befriend people by giving them your snacks. However, I feel like this tip made me cynical, as if I'm gaining people's favor for them to benefit me in the end. So I scrapped this part. I had this entire part about the different types of recruits you meet in BMT. This part was too long and I feel like I'm stereotyping people. We shouldn't be so quick to label people with one characteristic since they are more complex than just that. I had additional information about guard duty. If it's during the weekday, then it's good since you can get the status light duty the day after, where you can't participate in any strenuous activity. If it's during the weekend, that's bad since your weekends will get burnt. Guard duty lasts for 12 or 24 hours. But I realized this part is too technical, such as how long guard duty is or what the status light duty means. And can I just say, this part about guard duty got quite some attention from people on TikTok. First of all, some didn't even have to do guard duty during BMT. These people are so fortunate. Some claim it's better to be a sentry than a prowler. From what I've seen, it depends on if you're going to guard duty in Tekong, School 4, or the MO dump. Let me share my personal experience as a prowler in Tekong. It was exhausting doing a 24-hour shift as one. The interesting thing is, before our shift began, my buddy and I were torn between sentry and prowler. One of the biggest regrets was not following my buddy to become a sentry. In the end, he was a sentry with someone else and I was a sentry with someone else. I thought I could have used this time to bond with my buddy with heart-to-heart talks, but that didn't happen. I had this bit sharing what happens during the first few days. Your section commanders, who are 3rd Sergeant NSFs, will teach your section how to do basic things such as wearing your army uniform, also known as your long 4, and how to march. But then I had to explain terms like section commander, 3rd Sergeant and more. It just got too complicated. Just know that in the first few days, you learn the basics of being a soldier. Another part I removed was Western Wednesdays. Western Wednesdays is a day where you'll get to eat Western cuisine like baby carrots, burgers and mashed potato. In addition, you have ice cream during lunch to boost your morale. I wanted to explain the hype of Wednesdays, but what I read online is that some people don't actually like Western Wednesdays. I can see where they're coming from, like how the Western food is cooked wrongly and it's not authentic. But come on, this is probably the best food you'll get for the week. Not to mention free ice cream. Oh well, this part wasn't that important in the grand scheme of things. After talking about IPPT and PT sessions, I had this huge chunk about the various types of physical training. I scrapped this part because I would have bombarded people with many different types of PT. I guess the most important thing to highlight here is that there are some PT done in your uniform. If you want to talk to someone about PT, ask them about BCCT. They'll gush about the cool things they've learned. Oh yeah, so many people say that I missed out on SOC. So let me talk a bit about standard obstacle course. SOC is where soldiers complete a bunch of obstacles with their rifle. The challenging ones are the low rope and apex ladder. However, it can be pretty fun to sound like a playground for soldiers. You might not realize that you have acrophobia when doing apex ladder, and also pay attention closely to the technique you need when you are doing the low rope. Other than that, I think SOC is pretty fun. Definitely more interesting than doing a bunch of static workouts or running. I had this tip for route march. From 12 kilometers onwards, you might get blisters on your body. To prevent that, wear double layers of socks. Personally, I did wear double layers of socks. There are many tips to help you endure a road march. You can check it out on r/National Service SG. I had this part about being a Platoon IC. Every weekend there will be an appointed Platoon IC. He will give commands to the platoon, report strength to the commanders, and pump down instructions to the platoon. If the platoon screws up, the Platoon IC will be the one getting punished. If it's not you, try as much to help him, or at least don't create trouble. If it's you, you'll definitely go through a tough time, but be glad that it only lasts for a week. I don't think it's that important to those who don't wish to go to command school. After all, the commanders will likely pick you to be the Platoon IC if you indicated interest. I didn't want my video to be so focused on command school since I understand not everyone cares about it. Let's talk about the very first high key event, the grenade throwing. On the surface, people would be very concerned about their safety for this one. So here are some safety precautions that are taken that I didn't mention inside my video. Before the day you get to throw the real thing, you will practice throwing a rubber grenade. You will also practice safety drills when the grenade isn't thrown properly. There will be a commander to guide you through everything, even on the actual throwing, so you'll be fine. Even on the day itself, you will throw a fake grenade and go through the drills again. Close quarters battle is another high key event that I didn't really get to talk about because I feel like not many people will care about it. It's probably because people are more focused on field camp. But let's talk about it because I didn't know that it is a 2-day 1-night event the same week I experienced it. It might feel challenging since it's the first time you're staying overnight at a place with your rifle and you cannot shower. But what is it about? You learn how to do more drills with your SAR-21 in an urban operations site. They are pretty cool, especially the room clearing drill. For the live firing, I didn't get to add these nuggets of information. There's no incentive to do well, such as getting 26 out of 32 to get marksman, since there's no money involved. And this activity is mentally draining since you have to wait for a long time before you get your turn to shoot, and this lasts the entire day. To boost your morale, there will be a ninja van, basically a canteen store where recruits can eat snacks and drinks. I had so many things I want to cover about field camp because it is where the most interesting stories come about. I completely removed a bunch of tips on body maintenance. They took way too long. But that doesn't mean it's not important for everyone to know. You can get sun rashes on your back if your buddy doesn't scrub your back with the body sponge as hard as possible. Your feet and genitals can get rotten if you don't apply body powder. Once again, you can get more tips from r/National Service SG, which I will link in the description below. Okay, let's talk about shell scrape digging. Since it's the most exhausting activity in BMT, yours truly initially had tips for it. It might help to think of something or someone that gets you angry. Apparently, recruits who recently broke up with their girlfriends can dig very quickly. When you're resting, eat as many snacks as possible to boost your morale and energy. Looking back, I'm not confident enough to say that making yourself angry can help you out. But please eat snacks during your rest time. If there's a time to conserve your snacks, it will be for this activity. Yo, about the family letters, right? I'm sorry that I said that you will get them before your tekan session. I meant to say after a tekan session. Hopefully you use common sense to come to the realization that it's more logical to receive something nice after receiving something unpleasant. For the tekan session, it could come in the form of leopard crawling, push-ups, and RT drills. Finally, the last part I didn't put into the video, which I regret not putting, is at least bringing up the term POP. I could have ended the video by shouting POP low, but I don't know why it slipped out of my mind. Anyways, POP stands for Pass Out Parade. You pass out once you've graduated from BMT. So this parade is to commemorate recruits for becoming ready soldiers. Now, let's read the comments because I feel like there are many interesting things to learn from there too. Let's start with YouTube. The sequences for some of the high key events you experience might not be the exact same as the one in the video, as this somewhat depends on the higher ups in charge of planning the training program for the company. I agree with this comment. I even had a friend who experienced CQB and field camp in the same week, which is extremely tiring. For these non-combat fit recruits, they will have a different BMT in Crunchy Camp. I'm not that knowledgeable about this, but it's incredibly chill. I heard that recruits get scolded for running instead of walking since that will be considered a safety breach. Perhaps someone who has gone through this BMT can share their experiences. Now let's go into TikTok where I received many comments. BMT for police is different from BMT in Tekong is slang where there are lessons on PDT or shooting or swimming. There were pull-ups for IPPT before September 2014. The SAR-21 is for right-handed, so you will be at a disadvantage for live firing. But as I've said before, it's hard to fail live firing. I know that the part where I say yeet was pretty funny, but who knew that the person who did it would comment on my video? Is it true? I still don't know. You can't trust everything on the internet. But it goes to show you that you should only shout grenade when throwing it. I'm glad that I could even help those who are going through BMT as we speak. I only know that obese recruits will enlist earlier, but it seems like their training is easy and progressive. After your POP, you'll have 5 days of block leave. On Friday, you will go online to check where you're posted to. You'll have access to your phone during admin time. I appreciate this comment. I was thinking of not putting all the parts first. I'll wait for people to ask for the next part, then I'll post so as to gain more followers, anticipating content. But I've realized that I wanted my feed to have the 9 parts back to back. But more importantly, I just wanted to add value to people, not gain more clout by trickling down content. This brings me to this part of the video, which is more personal. I can understand if you click off if you're here just to learn about BMT. But let's talk about the creation process of the video. I made this video for 3 different people. If you've gone through BMT, you can reminisce about the events that you've gone through. If you're going to experience BMT, you can better understand what you will go through. If you don't have to go through BMT at all, it will help you to better understand what your friends and family are going through. And I'm glad that I've added values to these 3 parties. I've received comments of people saying how the memories are flooding back. I've received comments of people saying how they are about to enlist and my video helped them. I've also received a comment on how the user is worried for her boyfriend that's about to enlist, but my video helped to make them feel better. I couldn't find any video summarizing what happens in BMT. Yes, you have A Boys to Men. Yes, you have Army Days. Yes, you have Every Singaporean Son. Yes, you have videos by independent content creators too. But people want quick answers to what happens in BMT. So I took on the challenge of cramping all the important parts of BMT into 9 minutes. Hence making the catchy title 9 weeks of BMT in 9 minutes. This is the most informational video I've ever created since I mostly create raps or comedy videos. I wanted to stretch myself as a content creator. Of course, I wanted to make it as interesting as possible so that people would be engaged. You could say that my inspiration was Bill Word's video, so I spoke really fast. My voice might have been monotonous, and that's something I'll try to work on. But I added clips from Every Singaporean Son and A Boys to Men. After all, those sources are the only footage of Tekong that I can find and use online. In addition, I also added some memes and a background track. This wasn't just some random background track though. During BMT, I was chosen by a sergeant not from my platoon to be the front scout during the 6 kilometers route march. Basically, he and I were in front of the company to lead them in the route march. During it, he decided to put on music for the 2 of us to enjoy. One of the songs that I enjoyed was Somebody to You by the Vamps. So now when I put this song on, I'm reminded of times in BMT. That's why I used a piano cover of Somebody to You as the background track. I sort of knew that I created a video that would gain views for the next few years, but to see it get so many views within weeks was insane. Since it was doing well on YouTube, I realized that I could help more people with TikTok since the reach is insane. I've been posting on TikTok for about 10 months, so to see my TikTok gain more than 100,000 views in less than 24 hours was surreal. While reflecting on this entire episode of going viral, I'm grateful for one thing: comments on how I helped them with the video. This video got kind of emotional in the end, but thanks for watching. Subscribe to my channel will help me a lot as a small YouTuber. Click here now to watch some silly videos related to army for a guaranteed laugh.